All right, everybody, check into the stream, comment how we're doing this evening. I'm having just, I'm not sure what is going on with my video. I'm doing everything I can to keep it rolling. I've reset all of my things and stuff so many times now. So hopefully we're going to get rolling here. Check into the stream, comment where we're tuning in from. This is part 2 of the live stream. My first stream a little earlier this evening died out on me. It died out. So we're live now. This is part 2. Orc Hunters, check in, comment where you're tuned in from. Hit the like, hit the share, hit the follow. We have the map ready to go. So I'm going to start with that right away here. So this is day 178 of the war in Ukraine, part 2. If you missed part 1 stream, we had exclusive footage from Kyiv, downtown Kyiv. We watched Russian vehicles paraded and littered through the streets of downtown Kyiv in the first portion of the stream. I'm not sure how long this one's going to be. I don't foresee this stream being incredibly long. Beyond just the map update and a few videos we have to go through still yet that we did not get to in our first live stream. So let's get into it here. Russian occupation officials in Crimea reported another drone attack on the Russian Sea Fleet headquarters in Sevastopol on August 20th. Russian appointed governor of Sevastopol, Mikhail Razyanev, claimed that Russian forces were unable to shoot down a drone, resulting in the drone hitting the roof of the Black Sea Fleet headquarters. Rozyanev then retracted his initial statement and claimed that the Fleet Air Defense Post shot down the drone, which landed on the roof and caught fire. Social media footage showed a loud explosion and a cloud of smoke around the headquarters, and the drone likely detonated rather than being shot down. Some open source intelligence accounts have identified the drone as commercially available Sky 500mm Pro UAV. Ukrainian officials did not claim responsibility for the attack, but did not claim responsibility for the attack as of the time of this publication. A study of war has previously reported that Crimean occupation officials have obliquely accused Ukraine of orchestrating a drone attack on the headquarters on July 31st during Russia's Navy Day. Russian occupation officials in Crimea are likely considering strengthening security on the peninsula following the attacks of the Russian military infrastructure and saw Russian security forces away from the front lines. Razyanev claimed that all security services in Sevastopol are operating in high alert mode and controlling all entrances to the city. Razyanev claimed that Sevastopol residents are asking the occupation administration to increase patrols in the city and establish new checkpoints, returning the peninsula to a security posture such as it had after Russia initially seized it in 2014. Russia's continued failures to stop the attacks against occupied Crimea may also spark public discontent with Russian society. One Russian mill blogger criticized Russian forces for not using more electronic warfare EW equipment following the first drone attack on July 31st. Social media footage also shows many Russians waiting in traffic jams to leave Crimea and go to Russia, which may indicate growing public concern for the effectiveness of Russian security measures. We have a big $100 super chat coming in. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Chance, for that big $100 super chat. That is huge. Thank you so much. And we have a $10 super chat from Michelle on YouTube. Thank you so much for that, Michelle. And then a $10 super chat from Deb. I'm not sure if this stream's going to get out there on YouTube to as many people as we had. The algorithm probably died in the last stream. I'm hoping that many people were going to hop in here. Just hit the like, hit the share, hit the follow. Make sure you're subscribed to us on YouTube and you're following the page on Facebook with notifications turned on. Also, make sure you have joined our Telegram channel. Link in the description of the videos. That's the newest Mercado media platform to join. It's easy to blast out notifications and updates using that platform. It's really solid. So join that. So let's get into it here. War in Ukraine, day 170 of the war, August 20th, 2022. There's 3 main fronts in Ukraine at this time. We're not doing a map video tonight either, Larry. I'm not ready for it, so we're good to go. We'll have one starting again Monday. Here's the southern axis. Here's the east, the Donbass, and the northeast, Kharkiv, Oblast, and Belgorod, and the international border. We're going to go into each individual front and talk about what's going on there. Starting here with the east. I'm going to zoom in. I'm also going to make this duplicate so I can hyper zoom. Highlight some of these key cities. Izium, these are Russian-controlled cities in the east. You got Izium, Liman, Severodonetsk, and Lysychansk, Donetsk, and Lugansk. I'm going to highlight the Russian advancing directions. I'm also going to highlight Popasna here. Red arrows indicate the advancement of the Russian military, or at least their goals of where they want to advance. Doesn't mean everything's successful. And also Volnovaka down here. You also have some Russian advancement southeast of the city of Donetsk. So here's all the main Russian cities here in the east and the directions in which the Russian military is moving. I'm also going to circle Horlivka and some arrows here. All right. I'm going to highlight some of the key Ukrainian counteroffensive directions here with the blue arrows. So red is Russia, blue is Ukraine. And I'm also going to go around in this cauldron of villages and cities and circle each individual city in which I am referencing in this update. All right. Good to go there. All right. Starting with the city of Sloviansk. We're going to start with the city of Sloviansk here in the east and what's going on in Izium. So I'm going to circle that. Here's the town of Sloviansk. Russian forces continue to launch unsuccessful assaults southwest of Izium on August 20th. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Russian forces unsuccessfully attempted to advance on the Novodomrivka, Vinohrapilia, and Kroluka, approximately 25 kilometers southwest of Izium. Geolocated footage showed Ukrainian forces striking Russian military equipment approximately 12 kilometers northeast of the Novodomrivka on an unspecified date. Russian forces also continue to shell Asivka, Husrivka, Shipil, Proto-Popodivka, northwest of Izium, and launched an airstrike on Zlyman on the Kharkiv city Izium line. So unsuccessful advances onto Sloviansk. Let's do a hyper zoom, which I forgot to do. This is a hyper zoom on where we're talking about, and I'll do that for each city now. So back to where we were at. Let me fix this. Here's Izium. Yeah, the town of Lyman here. With the Russian advances and the red arrows on the screen. And I'm going to circle Sloviansk, so you know exactly where we're talking about. Here's the town of Sloviansk. Ukrainian counteroffensive. So here's just a zoom in look at what we're talking about in the east here, just to the southeast of the town of Lyman and to the southeast of Izium and to the southwest of the town of Lyman. The Russian forces have not had any successful advances on Sloviansk at all, period. They haven't advanced beyond their front lines in Lyman since the initial invasion. That they haven't advanced beyond that. There's a river there. There is a river in this region that it makes it incredibly difficult. Here's a better look at what it looks like. Just a lot of marshland, a lot of rivers in this region. Just very difficult for the Russian military to advance and push through onto Sloviansk beyond their positioning now. It's just tough terrain to advance through. So that's Sloviansk. No changes. No changes on Sloviansk. Nothing, just shelling of the villages and cities in its vicinity. But the Russians have not advanced or gained any ground on Sloviansk. Next, we're going to be talking about the town of Seversk, which is just to the east. Okay, I'm going to highlight some of the key Russian cities here. This is just a zoomed in look at what we're looking at on the big screen, on the big map. The Russian advancing directions, and I'm going to circle the town of Seversk here. Here it is on a full map. The full look at the east here. So we just looked at Sloviansk, and now here is the town of Seversk. So this is the entire Donbass in the east. Bang, there we go. Let's get the update. Russian forces attempted several unsuccessful ground assaults on Seversk from the southeast on August 20th. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Russian forces launched unsuccessful offensive operations from Spirny to Ivanko-Drivka, from the Mykolivka to Vimka, all southeast of Seversk. Russian forces also launched an airstrike on the Ivanko, Derivka, and shelled settlements around Seversk. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Russian forces fired artillery near Prishib and Rozlivka on the western bank of the Seversky Donetsk River and just south of Svitozhsk. So you have field artillery, unsuccessful offensive operations, unsuccessful ground assaults. Nothing's changed on the map. Nothing has changed. The Russians have not gained any new ground on this town of Seversk, but shellings of civilian populaces. Attempts are being made. Here's Ivano Derivka, which I've talked about many times. This is the little southern tip here. Oops. This is the southern arrow. The southern red arrow here. Ivano Derivka. Unsuccessful advances here and unsuccessful advances here. Nothing else to report on Seversk. Next, we're going to go just a little bit south of Seversk. We're going to go to the Ukrainian-controlled city of Bakhmut. Right here. We're not traveling too far. I'm also going to zoom in one more. Okay. Zoom in one more, so we're a little bit more zoomed here. It's all right. Ukrainian-controlled city of Bakhmut. Right here. Then I'm going to highlight... I could highlight Lipov. All of these, they're coming out of Volodymyrivka, the Russians. So I'm going to circle Volodymyrivka. That's one of the Russian bases that's there. Here's Popasna. There's Popasna along the T0504 highway. Then here's the Russian attempts to advance. The advancing directions. There's Bakhmutsky. Okay, again, the red is Russian advancing directions. I'm going to show you all on the full map what we're looking at here. Back out. So that was Seversk. Now here is the town of Bakhmut. Blue circle, just south of Seversk here on the large screen. So before, zoomed out, after. There we are, zoomed in. Russian forces continue to focus on advancing northeast and south of Bakhmut on August 20th, but did not make territorial gains in the area. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Russian forces unsuccessfully attacked Bakhmut, Soledar, and Bakhmutsky, which is northeast of Bakhmut. Russian forces reportedly failed to advance on Zyadasiv and Kodyma, which is approximately 9 and 13 kilometers southeast of Bakhmut, respectively. Russian forces also conducted unsuccessful attacks in the direction of Horlivka Mayorsk, which is about 21 kilometers due southeast of Bakhmut. The DPR, which is the Donetsk People's Republic, militia claimed that the DNR Kolumius Brigade is supporting Russian forces advancing north from Horlivka with artillery fire, but did not make any territorial claims. The DNR militia also claimed that the DNR's 3rd Brigade seized Ukrainian positions around Zadasiv. A study working on independently verify the DNR's claims. The United Kingdom Defense Ministry noted that Russian forces have approached the outskirts of Bakhmut, but have not broken into Bakhmut's defensive areas. So they're just continuing to focus their areas around Bakhmut to the north and Bakhmutsky. Their main area, the Russians' main push here, is right here. Just to the north of Bakhmutsky, advancing into the town of Soledar. This is the region that the Russians are having successes. I know you're seeing lots of red arrows on the screen and some yellow, which is claimed Russian control. So that is new territory that the Russians are claiming to have control over. But the only recent success in the past few weeks that the Russians have had in this region have been advancing on to Soledar and the Novgips factory. Looking at that from the map, looking at that on the GPS here. Let's go to the east. Here's Ukraine. Let's go over here to the east and look at that Novgips factory. So here we are looking at it from a GPS. There's Bakhmut. We're looking at the same spot. We're looking at the same spot right here. I'll circle it so you can see it for sure. Here's Bakhmut. And you still got the Ukrainian-controlled city, majority-controlled of Soledar, just to the north of it. GPS, we're looking at the same thing. Looking at the same thing, just looks just different filters because you got a war filter, then you got the GPS. Okay, so we're going in on Soledar now. Here is the Nov Gips factory. This is the factory that the Russians have control over in Soledar. There hasn't been any confirmed reports of the Russians advancing any further through the town of Soledar. As you can see, it's a pretty long town. You got to travel all the way. You got to travel through a skinny, laid out city here. It's not really a wide circular city like a lot of these are. Like Bakhmut branches outward in a circle. This one's kind of like a rectangle, the way the city's laid out. A lot of farmland, a lot of open fields here, outside of the city limits, just outside of the city, farmland, grain fields. So the Russians have advanced on the T1302 highway, which is right next to this, on Nov Gips. So this is what we're looking at here. When you're seeing this yellow up on this war map, they have taken the Nov Gips factory, but they've had that for a couple weeks now, or at least a week and a half at this point. No unsuccessful attacks in the direction of Orlivka. And then you have the DNR claiming that they've gained more territory without evidence of backing up their claims. So nothing beyond the current Russian successes of the seizure of the Nov Gips factory in Soledar. Hasn't been any updates, hasn't been any confirmed ground gains from the Russian military in the past 24 hours. Now we're going to go down to the city of Advidka, which is just south of that, even further. Ukrainian-controlled city of Advidka. I'm going to zoom out a little bit more on this one. There we go. I'm going to zoom out to there. Circle Advidka, still Ukrainian-controlled. City of Donetsk. Some of the Russian advancing directions here. Also, Volnovakha here in the southern axis, just outside of the Zaporizhia Oblast. You have claimed Russian advances pushing the front lines of the southern axis up into the Zaporizhia Oblast. You have reports of it. And then, of course, I'm going to circle Vutsianavta. This is the city just outside of the Advidka front line, and where the scene of the Russians trying to advance directly onto Advidka. It's always failed, never has had success. That's why the Russians are trying to, that's what they're trying to do in the area, push this front line outwards as long as they can. Push this front line outwards so it's in Russian-controlled territory so they can advance on Advidka from a different direction, because they've failed miserably going straight at it for 8 years, nearly a decade. So they're trying to push this front line outwards, and then the Russians essentially will be able to advance on Advidka from the west if they can push this out even further. Right now they haven't advanced any further beyond town of Pisky and Marinka. I don't think that's the name of the city. I don't think that's it. What's the name? Yeah, it is Marinka. I'm right. Don't question yourself. Yeah, Marinka and Pisky are the two Ukrainian cities here that we're looking at. I'm going to circle them so you can see what they're looking like on this map. Here's Pisky, and then here's Marinka. These are the two cities that the Russians have had success as of late, pushing through and advancing to try to, again, extend that Donetsk front line outward. Let's get the update as of August 20th. Russian forces conducted before I do that, here it is in the full map, so you know where we're looking at. This is still in the Donbass. Here's Advidka, and the full eastern map, right, of the whole Donbass, looking at it. Zoomed in version. The green circles again are on Pisky and Marinka. Russian forces conducted unsuccessful attacks northwest of Donetsk city on August 20th. The Ukrainian General Staff stated that Russian forces launched unsuccessful assaults on Optiny, Pisky, and Pervomyatsky, which is all northwest of Donetsk city. Deputy Commander of the DNR's 1st Army Corps, Edward Batsurin, claimed that Russian forces are fighting for Krasnohorovka and Tonetki, which is 19 kilometers west and 18 kilometers northwest of Donetsk city. respectively. Geolocated footage also showed Ukrainian forces striking and advancing Russian unit in the southern part of Marinka, which is about 22 kilometers west of Donetsk city. Geolocated footage also showed Russian forces attempting to advance to Marinka from its northeastern outskirts. So you have the Russians attempting to, again, extend that Donetsk city front line. There hasn't been any confirmed successes, just attempts, and there's also been reports of unsuccessful attempts on Optiny, Pisky, and Provomiatsky. So the town of Pisky, which is this northern green circle, you got two green circles here. So the north one, that's Pisky. The Russians have not advanced any further through the town or gained any new territory, as well as the town of Marinka, which is just to the south of that. So there hasn't been any reports of any confirmed or gained Russian ground in this territory, but in the green circles on your screen, those are the two locations of the most recent Russian successes in terms of ground gained. Russian forces continued fighting near the Donetsk-Zaporizhia Oblast administrative border on August 20th. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Russian forces carried out failed assaults on Zolota Nivnya, which is about 20 kilometers east of Donetsk-Zaporizhia Oblast administrative border, but were unsuccessful and withdrew. So that's going to be down here. Unsuccessful assaults, and then they ended up withdrawing. That's it in Advidka. So no confirmed territory gains, just keeping an eye on Marinka and Pisky. So in summary, in this entire region, no reports of Ukrainian counteroffensive successes. Looking up here specifically at some of these Ukrainian counteroffensives that are taking place in Izium. We're still waiting to see if any further reports on that, but as of now, there has not been any reports of Ukrainian counteroffensives advancing further, liberating towns and villages in that region. There just hasn't. Looking at some of the key Russian successes as of late here in Bakhmut. So all of the green circles here are going to be the Russian successes as of late. Okay, you got about 4 of them. You got one here in the southern axis, just touching the Zaporizhia Oblast border near Donetsk, north of Volnovaka. You have the Russian successes just to the west of the city of Donetsk, and Pisky and Marinka that we're still observing. And then you have the Russian successes in north of Bakhmut on the Nov Gips factory. I'm not sure that's an emporium. I'm not sure what they do there. I'm sure what is made there. Suppose we can look it up. Nov Gips. I don't even know if this will pop up. Yeah. Nov Gips Donbass. This is the factory in Bakhmut that the Russians had taken control over. Oof. I don't even know what they do. Products and references. Worldwide range of what? Glass material, wool. So here's what they got. Aqua panels, NOF diamonds, which is used in all fields of interior works. Cladding of premium drywall systems with enhanced requirements for sound insulation. Safe boards, silent boards. So it sounds like some soundproofing. Ecos Technologies revolutionary new formaldehyde-free binder technology based on rapidly renewable materials instead of petro-based chemicals. Insulation. It's an insulation company. Root band bonding gypsum plaster for smoothing and gypsum plaster for special lightweight. Yep. So it's a nice insulation factory. Well, that is what Russia has taken control over in Bakhmut. Looking at the Nov Gips gypsum. Pull that up on the GPS. So anyways, those are the 4 recent locations of Russian successes in the Donbass very incremental. They continue to attempt on every single day. Doesn't mean that it is successful or the Russians are having successes. They're just attempting. All right, that's it in the east. Next, we're going to go up in the northeast in the Kharkiv Oblast, the international border with Belgorod. Here's Kharkiv, city of Belgorod. That's in Russia. I'm going to close this out. Here's the full map. We're looking up here. Oops. Here's Kharkiv. And here is Belgorod. All right, let's get the update. Russian forces attempted limited ground assaults north of Kharkiv city on August 20th, all of which failed. Official Ukrainian sources reported that Russian forces attempted assaults northeast of Kharkiv city near Borychova, but failed and retreated. The Dirachi City Council reported that Russian forces also conducted a failed assault on Potomnik, north of Kharkiv city. Geolocated footage published on August 18th showed Russian forces operating around Demenivka, indicating that Russian forces have only made marginal territorial gains toward Demenivka, north of Kharkiv city, despite prolonged efforts to seize the settlement. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Russian forces conducted airstrikes near Ruski Trisky, north of Kharkiv city, and Zolochiv, northwest of Kharkiv city. Ukrainian Kharkiv Oblast Administration head Oleg Subnabagov reported that Russian forces conducted missile strikes in Kharkiv city and throughout Kharkiv Oblast overnight on August 19th to the 20th, damaging critical infrastructure. Russian forces continued shelling Kharkiv city and the surrounding settlements. So attempted pushes, attempted assaults, all failed. Let's pull up Demenivka. Where exactly is this one? The city name sounds so familiar. Kharkiv, Demenivka. That's right on the border. Let's see where that is on our war map. Where is it on here? Demenivka. Is it in Ukrainian territory in this one? Potomnik. There it is. So this is where we're looking at so this is zoomed in. So just want to show you one more time. Here is the green circle. This is the Kharkiv Oblast that we're looking at. Hyper zoom. Here is the location of the latest ground. Like this is what's going on in Kharkiv, and this is the region it's taking place. So from Potomnik to Demenivka. I'm going to circle it here. All Mali Prokody, Voli Prokody, or even Staltny too. Oops. So this is that region I'm talking about in Kharkiv Oblast. When I'm shouting out a bunch of cities or villages and there's shellings on them. This is that region from Staltny. Here's Demenivka. Here's Potomnik. Here's Mali Prokody and Velky Prokody. No, and just a few other villages in there too. But this is like the main region. I mean, it's the front lines. This is the front line going right through it. You got Ukrainian controlled region, which used to be Russian. Now it's Ukrainian. And then you also have the Russian front lines here as well. So again, this is up in the Kharkiv Oblast. Going to zoom out some. Showing it again from this angle. Kharkiv. Russian city of Belgorod, and then the latest reports of the fighting taking place here in Kharkiv is going to be right here in the green circle. That is where the latest ground fighting is taking place. All unsuccessful advances from the Russian military to extend that front line. There hasn't been any successes at all from the Russian military, only L's. Only L's from the Russian military up here. And that is it to report from the Kharkiv Oblast. Shellings of civilian populated cities and villages. That's continued. It hasn't stopped since the start of the invasion. That has not stopped. Supporting effort number 2 is the southern axis of Ukraine. So we're going to leave here. That's it for the Kharkiv Oblast. We're going to go into the southern axis of Ukraine. Likely going to be hyper-focusing here. But I'm going to use the full map. I use the full map usually for this part because it covers a wide range of cities down here. But here's the southern axis. Zoom out one. Circle the key Ukrainian-controlled cities. You got Mykolaiv. I'm gonna highlight Nikopol because it's on the other side of I'm gonna highlight Nikopol and Zaporizhia together. It's not in. No, I'm not. I'm gonna highlight Nikopol though. Nikopol's on the other side of the river from the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. Here's Zaporizhia, and then Odessa. I'm gonna highlight the Zaporizhia NPP in green. I want to draw, right? Where you see the green dot or the green marking next to Nikopol, which here is zoomed in. Here it is zoomed in. There's the Inodahar. So it would look like this. I wish I should have like, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's have this one zoomed in on Nikopol and Inodahar so you can see the distance there. So Nikopol, again, Ukrainian-controlled city. Inodahar is Russian-controlled. And also the site of the Zaporizhia. There's Inodahar. And then I'll use this for the Kherson Oblast. Because there's a lot going on down here in the south. Just a lot. I'll use this one for the Kherson Oblast there. Now we got a location for Nikopol, Inodahar. Even Marionetsk is on the other side too. Okay, and then over here you got the southern axis. You got Mykolaiv over to Melitopol. Just zoomed in a little bit. Mykolaiv, Kryvyi Rih. Here's Nikopol. Zoomed out some. The Ukrainian counteroffensive directions on Russian occupied territory here. And then I'm going to highlight the main Russian cities here in the southern axis. So you got Kherson, Novokhovka, Melitopol. Over here you got on the big map, Kherson, Novokhovka. Bruh. Are we back? Oh my goodness. Why does this keep happening, y'all? We're back. I'm so sorry, y'all. We're back. Yo, I don't know. I'm sitting here and I'm talking, and it just like I'm talking like my Streamlabs ends my stream. I'm not doing it. It's not my connection. My connection's at 100. Listen, chat. I don't know what the deal is. I need to like be live and like show like what my screens look like or something, because they just like end. We're back, the same stream. I did my little quick thing. Don't know what the hell it is. We're sticking with it, staying strong. I had to end Facebook, so I don't know what the hell it is. Maybe go to Facebook and in the comments and let everyone know, hey, we're still live on YouTube. Big apologies, chat. I mean, listen, doing the best we can over here. I don't know what the answer is. Not even mad. Spark one up if you need to. I'm going through it in general, so this sucks too on top of it. But we will prevail. We will prevail. A little short lapse there as people come back in if they need to. Could be the hackers. I don't know. I haven't had this issue since my streams were like when the war started, and we had so many people tuning in, and I had these same issues. I might need to switch it up. Like, I don't know what it is. It's like the Facebook stream is ending. It's like the connection on the Facebook stream is dropping off now. And it never used to do that. Thank you, Anika299. We're going to let people hop back in really quick before I continue. We're on the southern axis, going over what's going on the southern axis of Ukraine. My connection drops. I don't know what the hell is going on. Facebook messed up. Watching you. Okay, yeah, Facebook did mess up, so we're going to wait for that to get back out there. I ended Facebook stream. I don't know how to start it again. I'm not going to start Facebook again. Yeah, do you think that's what it is, Mike? Oof. Yuck. Didn't work, but oh well. YouTube's still here, letting people populate on in here. If you're coming from Facebook, come on over here. Where did you get that hat, though? Well, I served. You get it when you serve, or if you're looking up one. So we're waiting for everyone to come on in from Facebook. I don't want to take off too much. Again, we're almost done, actually. The stream has failed twice now tonight. If you go back, if you want to watch the first half of this stream, or the first part of it, you'll see part 1 next to the live stream. This one's got part 2 next to it in the title, so you'll just catch that one if you missed it. You got an Arby's hat? You think Facebook's the problem? I mean, yeah, I ended Facebook, and here we are. The only issue is I have a lot of people that support monthly on Facebook, so I can't, I rely on Facebook for my income, so I can't just end it over there, you know what I mean? I can't just stop completely on Facebook. But all right, let's continue. Thanks for being a new source for us. Thank you so much for your service. Thank you. So we're going to continue. So we're back in the southern axis of Ukraine. I got a couple maps up here showing Nikopol and the Inodahar and the Zaporizhzhia NPP, the nuclear power plant marionettes on the other side of the river. And this map is more focusing on the Kherson Oblast, with Kherson, Novokakhovka, the site of Russian ammunition depots and Ukrainian counteroffensives. And Melitopol's also on the map. And then this is a full view of the southern axis, so you can see like all of Ukraine at the same time. So I got 3 individual maps, and anything that I'm referencing or need to talk about, I will go into it and talk about it. So southern axis. Russian forces launched several assaults northwest of Kherson City and east of Mykolaiv City on August 20th. Ukrainian military officials reported that Russian platoon unsuccessfully attempted to advance on Cherivsky, which is about 38 kilometers northwest of Kherson City. 2 Russian amphibious assault detachments also failed to advance to Partyunatsky, which is approximately 44 kilometers east of Mykolaiv City along the T-1508 highway that goes to the Russian strongpoint in Stranuvka. Geolocated footage also showed a small Ukrainian detachment raid on an unspecified building in northern Stenarivka on an unspecified date, which could indicate that Russian positions have shifted south within the settlement. Ukrainian officials reported that Russian forces launched an Iskander missile at Vostnensk, which is about 81 kilometers northwest of Mykolaiv City, hitting a residential building, and continued striking Mykolaiv City with S-300 missiles. Russian occupation authorities again accused Ukraine of shelling the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, while Russian forces continue to shell settlements in Dnipropetrovsk Oblast across the Dnipro River. Russian-backed Zaporizhzhia Oblast Military Civilian Administration head Vladimir Rogov claimed that Ukrainian forces shelled in the vicinity of one of the administrative buildings at ZNPP using Western-provided military equipment on August 20th. Editor and correspondent for the NPR Science, Jeff Broomfield, concluded that the available satellite imagery from August 19th would not suffice to make assessments of whether or not shelling occurred without footage from the ground. Russian occupation authorities have control of the narrative, given that they have access to the occupied ZNPP and have notably failed to present clear evidence to support their claims. Ukrainian local officials reported that Russian forces continued to fire Grad multiple launch rocket system rockets and marionettes and tube artillery at Nikopol. Ukrainian forces also shot down 4 Russian Kaliber cruise missiles over Dnipropetrovsk Oblast. Ukrainian forces continue to strike Russian ammunition depots and positions in Kherson and Zaporizhzhia Oblasts. So that's right here. Advisor to Kherson Oblast Administration Sergei Klan reported that explosions in Shoro-Noborivka, which is about 7 kilometers northwest of Kherson City, and social media footage showed 3 distinct smoke columns reportedly at Shoro-Noborivka airfield. Klan also reported that there were 2 Ukrainian strikes on unspecified targets near Novokakhovka and Borislav on the 19th. The Ukrainian Southern Operational Command reported that Ukrainian aviation launched 8 airstrikes on Russian positions along the line of contact in the Kherson Oblast. Geolocated footage showed Ukrainian artillery striking Russian military equipment in the northwestern Kherson Oblast. Melitopol Mayor Ivan Fedorov stated that Ukrainian forces struck a Russian military base in Melitopol, noting that Russian forces did not intercept the missile because the main part of the Russian air defense units has redeployed from Melitopol to Kherson Oblast. Fedorov added that Russian forces fired a missile at Melitopol from the southern direction as a response to Ukrainian strikes against Russian military objects, although there is no evidence to support this assertion. Kremlin-sponsored media claimed that Russian air defense systems activated overnight and accused Ukrainian forces of striking civilian infrastructure. Social media footage reported explosions in Melitopol, but the point of the impact is unclear from the footage. I'm mute for you. Just unmute me. I should be good to go. Should be able to hear me. Just refresh the stream if you have to. Russian forces remain unable to restore a bridge crossing over the Dnipro River in the Kherson Oblast. A Russian military correspondent showed that severe damage in the Kakhovka bridge that the Ukrainian strikes have caused and claimed that Russians have used the bridge as an alternative route for humanitarian help. After Ukrainian strikes of the Antonivsky Bridge, the military correspondent claimed that the bridge is repairable and partially operational, but Klon stated that Russian repair efforts have been failing in recent days. So the repairs at the bridges that Ukraine continues to shell to the east of Kherson. So I'm going to highlight the Antonivsky Bridge in the green circle, and then Novokakhovka has its own dam. So those are the two sites of bridges and key crossings that if Ukraine shells them and destroys them, everything to the north of this green line will be Ukraine's. Everything to the south of that green line we'll see, but they will cut the Russians off from the north of this green line. That is the location of the Dnipro River. Those are the only two major crossings that the Russians can get significant military equipment to the other side of the river from. If Ukraine takes those out, it's over with. Right now, they're slowed. Military correspondent claimed the bridge is repairable. So you have two opposing narratives there. One saying that the bridge is repairable and operational, and another stating that the repair efforts have been failing. So failed efforts, and then you have partially operational and repairable. I think it'll be non-mission capable very soon. They've been shelling it for 3 weeks now. They've been shelling those two bridges in the south. But beyond that, that is it. That is a report in the Southern Axis. We're monitoring the ZNPP, which is the nuclear power plant in Inodohar, and we're monitoring what's going on in the Kherson Oblast with Ukrainian counteroffensive directions advancing and the shelling of the bridges. Yeah, that's not YouTube. I think it's Facebook, honestly. I think it was the Facebook live stream. I think we should be good to go now. I cut Facebook off. I ended it. We're on YouTube only right now. So rocking YouTube strong. That is it for the Southern Axis in Ukraine as of August 20th, 2022. Now we're going to talk about some of the mobilization and force generation efforts. So this is how Russia is sending their military into Ukraine and like how they're paying them, what they're named, what they're comprised of. So Russian objective, expand combat power without conducting general mobilization. Russian proxy republics in Donbass are continuing to convert mobilization efforts, but are struggling to generate sufficient manpower to create combat-ready units. Ukraine's Resistance Center reported that Lugansk People's Republic authorities are actively tracking down eligible men for military service, including by exchanging food for information on the whereabouts of eligible men and searching for eligible men near schools and kindergartens. Ukrainian Lugansk Oblast Administration head Serhiy Haidai claimed that LNR authorities are even mobilizing men with chronic illnesses due to a shortage of eligible men.
What the fuck is that?
The fuck is that about? Ukraine's Resistance Center reported that the Donetsk People's Republic and the LNR are sending mobilized men to the front lines without adequate ammunition and equipment, and called on civilians to flee territories under the occupation or under the risk of occupation to avoid mobilization. Deputy Military Commissar LNR Alexei Krichenko denied reports of forced mobilization and claim that the LNR is recruiting volunteers for contract service. Dang. So exchanging food for information. That's where we're at here in the East. So that's looking at the map. So the DNR and the LNR. You can take out these two maps. We're done going into the maps now. But what we're looking at, we're talking about, is the Donetsk People's Republic here in the East. The food struggle. Lack of available bodies and manpower. Nobody wants to fight for Russia. Nobody wants to go fight for this sham, ridiculous, garbage reasoning for invasion that Russia has continued to give us ear cancer with their reasonings. Russian and occupation authorities continue relentless advertising campaigns to recruit for contract volunteer service. The Yekaterinburg military contract, The Yekaterinburg Military Selection Center reportedly replaced advertisements at bus stops for 4 to 12 month military contracts with 200,000 ruble month salaries, which is $3,361 a month. A local Yekaterinburg outlet also reported on August 18th that a billboard advertising Oktretsker W appeared in the city and listed the phone number it's connected to, which is the Wagner Group. The Ukrainian Mariupol City Administration posted screenshots on August 20th of text messages to Mariupol residents advertising the DPR, the Donetsk People's Republic military contracts, reportedly offering 200,000 to 300,000 rubles. Yeah, right, dude. Yeah, right. They're not getting paid that at all. They're not going to get that money. They're going to get their name signed on the dotted line, and then guess what? You better fight, or you're going to get shot or get sent to the gulag. It should be good to go right now. There shouldn't be any lag. I'm not seeing any on my end here. Let me know in the chat if it's good to go. Just say good to go or having lag. Here's an update from the TikTok army. Chechen Republic head Ramzan Kadyrov announced the formation of a second police regiment for the protection of oil and gas facilities in the Chechen People's Republic. Rozgavir North Caucasian District Commander Lieutenant General Oblik Delimanikov stated that the new police regiment will have 2,000 personnel and over 600 candidates have already applied. Kadyrov said that Chechen authorities have reorganized both police regiments to be combat ready. Kadyrov stated that having a new combat-ready police regiment will expand Chechen forces' ability to protect critical infrastructure in Chechnya. So you got a second police regiment for the protection of oil and gas facilities. New police regiment will have 2,000 personnel. 600 candidates of those 2,000 have already applied, allegedly. New police force for the TikTok military. We're going to be seeing some fresh new TikToks and some new cop outfits. Some new cop talks from the Chechens. All right, next we're going to talk about the activities in some of these occupied cities. That's what's going on for mobilization. So you have people struggling to eat. People exchanging food for information, being sent to the front lines without adequate ammunition and equipment. The DPR is recruiting outside of schools and kindergartens. You have the $2,000 a month, which is so cap. They're only offering that to they're the only people they're offering monthly. Most of these are one-time payments, but the only significant monthly payments that are being offered is going to be from the St. Petersburg Oblast or some of the more privileged oblasts in Russia, if you will. That's probably the best way to put it. And that's not even guaranteed. Those that have lost loved ones, like the family members of Russian troops that are being killed in Ukraine, aren't even receiving credible or legible information about their loved ones that are being killed. I mean, they're receiving fake information or not even the full information, and then they just have to accept that. So the fact that they're offering monthly payments like this, and they're advertising it in Mariupol, I don't think so. So activity in occupied areas. So this is what's going on in the cities that are occupied by Russian forces. Russian occupation authorities continued measures to coerce or force Ukrainian civilians into cooperating with occupation administrations in occupied areas. I want to know, those that continuously are either just, maybe you're just anti-Ukraine for some reason, which makes sense because the Ukrainian government was very pro-Russian prior to the Maidan Revolution. So they've been fighting for their independence and to overcome that past of mob rule, or like the Russian government within Ukraine. So they've been fighting to come back from that. So I can understand maybe some past angst against Ukraine, but I really want to know, are you those that are just like always going to be going against Ukraine, or like are always parroting the Russian talking points? Are you for Russia? Do you want Russia to take over Ukraine as a whole, or what is your stake in here? I would really like to know. Or are you just here to troll and just be here and be annoying? That could be also an option as well. I would genuinely like to know. Conditions in occupied territories continued to deteriorate. Kalan said on August 19th that Russian occupation authorities are restricting passage through the border between Kherson and Crimea. Ooh. Those Russians on vacation in the Crimea Oblast aren't going to be able to get out of there. The Ukrainian Mariupol City Administration reported on August 20th that there are constant fire team incidents in Mariupol, that the shootings are becoming a new way of solving problems within the city. Dude, Mariupol, that's Russian occupation authorities. So it's because of fuck NATO? That's why? So it's fuck NATO, so Russia can commit atrocities in a country just because of fuck NATO. That's why. Is that good enough? Is that all you need? I would like to know. Continue, please. The Ukrainian Mariupol City Administration reported on the 20th that there are constant firearm incidents in Mariupol and that shootings are becoming a new way of solving problems. Donetsk People's Republic officials announced that the Verno-Vomoshutskaya water filtration station in Donetsk City ceased operations overnight on August 19th to the 20th due to low water levels and will not resume operations for at least 3 days, exacerbating existing struggles to provide clean water to residents in Donetsk City and the surrounding areas. So they're struggling. They're struggling in Mariupol. The Russian government, the puppet government over Mariupol, failing miserably. Lots of people dislike NATO and want it closer to okay, I understand that. That's the one point I can understand. Okay, I can understand Russia not wanting a defense alliance that was created to be an enemy to them, not closer to their border, right? I fully get that. But do you understand that those that are saying that Russia is entirely doing it to themselves? Is that not resonating, or is that not landing with you? I think that's the problem, is that they're not understanding that Russia's doing this to themselves, and the border, NATO's border, wouldn't be getting closer to Russia if they weren't trying to make the Soviet Union great again for the last 20, 30 years. So they haven't stopped. Since Russia's lost the Soviet Union, they have ensured that there has been war in this region since that has happened. So I would get it. If it was NATO invading countries here to make sure that they're closer to the Russian border, I'd understand. I'd be able to hear that, but I can't, because Russia's invading countries to make the Soviet Union great again, to try to. So explain that one a little further. NATO pushing towards Russia in the 90s. Was Russia the 90s? So 30 years ago, Russia's been. So what about the wars in Georgia? What about in Transnistria, which is at the late 90s, which Russia used Ukraine's far right to be able to take Transnistria from Moldova, What are you talking about in the 90s? Russia was doing shit in the 90s too, at the end of the 90s. I've been seeing the comments while I've been going, so I'm finally just going at it for once. Like, there is no excuse for this. You can continue to try. Kharkiv Oblast occupation authorities began passportization efforts on the 20th. Kharkiv Oblast occupation head Kupiansk Maxim Gubin reported that the first 10 residents of Kupiansk received Russian passports on August 20th. The announcement came just one day after the Kharkiv Oblast occupation head Vitaly Grantchev formally appointed former Krasnodar Mayor Andriy Alekschenko as chairman of the Council of Ministers of the Kharkiv Occupation Administration. Ukrainian Mariupol Mayor advisor Petro Adyachenko reported on August 20th that unknown actors, likely Ukrainian partisans, unsuccessfully attempted to assassinate Russian collaborator and occupation mayor Konstantin Avyachenko. There was also an attempt on Mariupol, Mariupol? Shit. I lost this now too. I gotta pull it up Nexta. Nexta posted it right before I went live. Of another attempt on a Russian, Dugin, Alexander Dugin. What's he control of? 1 second. Okay, it's a spiritual guide. So I thought Dugin had some control over one of the cities, or maybe I'm just getting it scrambled up in my brain. But tonight, this just happened a few hours ago before I went live. Alexander Dugin, who's like a known fascist, like pro-Russian, just straight up for everything that Russia's doing in Ukraine, including the war crimes. Putin's like one of Putin's right hand, left hand mans. Probably has taken a turn at carrying Putin's shit briefcase for him. But his daughter was killed. But they had an attempt on his life in Moscow. So a lot of Russian officials getting taken out here.
Это, походу, это, блядь, пиздец.
No, so countries, so that's such a dumb argument as well. Countries have individualism. They have sovereignty. Georgia wanted to join NATO, so if they want to join NATO, they have the right to do so. If they want to join the United Nations, they have the right to do so. So Russia's little Karenism, Russia's crybaby-ass Karenism because countries are joining NATO because they're a fucking provocation at all times in the East for countries to be sovereign and independent. So they want to join a Western alliance, which, again, isn't perfect at all. We've seen many of the failures of these Western alliances. They need help and work, but they're far better than what the East has going on. By a long shot, not even close, and like way better in terms of human rights, of trying to abide by human rights laws and the law of war, and it's just complete garbage. So yeah, these countries wouldn't want to join NATO if Russia wasn't a provocation at all times in the East. Just absolute trash arguments. I haven't seen a good one yet. Here's more of their government officials getting blown up though.
Yeah, but
because Crimea is is Ukrainian. Russia invaded it and seized it. What are you talking about? It was never Ukraine. Crimea is not a part of Russia. Russia went in there and stole it. What the fuck are you talking about? Had a fake annexed election like they're going to try to do in the South. They're going to try to do the same shit they did in Crimea. They're going to fail in Kherson because the Ukrainians are right on the outskirts. But they're going to try to do it in Melitopol, Mariupol, which we just got the report that there's gun violence like crazy in Mariupol. And like people are getting, like Russian government officials are being assassinated. They have no control over Mariupol at all. So I don't even know what's going to happen there. Likely we'll do it in Donetsk. Likely we'll do it in Lugansk. Also, keep in mind, Russia's had troops in the Donbass for the last 8 years. It hasn't been this DPR, LPR bullshit. It's been Russian troops. There's been video evidence of it. The Russian troops have been in Ukraine. They just did a full-scale mobilization in the 24th, but the Russian soldiers have been in the east. Talk about this LNR. You don't want to get me really started for real and start going at these garbage talking points. I'll let it fly forever so y'all can maybe change your perspective. But on August 20th, at nearly February, March, April, May, June, July, at 6 months into the war, and you're still repeating the garbage talking points that we learned and fixed and understood at the beginning of the war, and you're still repeating them now, that's a problem, and you're going to start getting corrected in my chat. So here's the propagandist. His daughter was recently killed. One of Putin's right-hand men. That's what we're looking at in the video. Alexander Dugin is Putin's propaganda consultant. His daughter was recently listed in the sanctions list of Britain as she helped her father in spreading the ideology of the Russian world. So there you are. That's what happens when you are a propagandist for Russia, or you end up getting poisoned by Vladimir Putin himself, or one of his cronies. This is how you end up. Then you have Russians trying to flee Crimea. Russia's going to likely block the bridge, maybe provocate that too. Say Ukraine's going to be killing civilians in Crimea, but it's really Russia. That's just how they are. They haven't changed. They're the same. The same garbage. Why would Mexico want to join the CSTO, Speedy? Explain that. That doesn't make any sense. Is the United States invading territory in Mexico? Is the United States advancing south? Are we pushing our border south into Mexico for bullshit reasons in the south, saying Texans are Karens this month, so Texans feel a type of way. We need to push the Texan border into Mexico. Is that a thing? No. So you can't even use that equivalence either. What if Canada wanted to join the CSTO? Are we advancing into Canada? Is there any state in the United States advancing into Canada to take territory?
Day 107.
Here's John Sweeney, CSTO.
War Diary Day 178. The electricity is still on, the internet is still on, and I'm still wearing my lucky orange hat. But there is a Russian tank down the end of this street. Vlad, come and join me. This, of course, folks, is Vlad Demchenko, the guy who arrested me on day 2 of the war.
These two are like best friends now. He arrested John in the beginning of the war for assuming he was a Russian agent.
What's that, by the way? What's that funny noise? Thunder?
Explosions. Also, about electricity, it's not very true. Look at the Bakhmut. There is no electricity, no water in the town, and I don't think they will get it very soon.
And so the town Bakhmut itself, that's in Ukrainian hands?
Yeah, like right after, like we're now on western side of the city. On the eastern side, there is a street. There is already a Russian infantry sitting, so we are pretty close to them.
And that noise then?
It was our outcoming.
Our outgoing. Okay, yes. I'm all right to be wearing my silly orange hat.
Okay. Doom. We deal in what's going on in reality. I don't deal with what ifs, right? Do I sit here and you hear my what if situations because you're watching me, but I don't get information about what ifs either. Like that's not what we base the information off of. So if you're using your entire justification for allowing in your brain Russia to do what it's doing because of NATO, scary NATO, and then you're going to create a fake situation in Mexico that would allow, or like that would create a situation in which Mexico would want to join the CSTO, which is a shit organization anyways. Again, NATO's not the best, but that's even worse.
Yeah.
That'd be a downgrade.
Okay, right, yeah, because he knows what he's doing, even though he did arrest me on day 2 of the war. That was outgoing as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And
that's incoming. Yeah. You can. That's outgoing.
No, it's incoming.
Oh, is it? Oh, fuck.
Yeah. It's actually very easy to find out. Outcoming sound is always round. It's like accurate. It's like boom, boom. and incoming is always cut in the pieces. It's not accurate. It's like
Yeah.
I'm Mexican.
It's more like a fart. That was incoming. Yes.
Echo.
Yeah. And also, if it's really close, you can
You
feel
will
it.
hear a lot of incomes for next days, John. If you are willing to stay with us, you will be tired of listening to them. You will sleep like a baby, whatever happens.
I don't know. I usually don't let the trolls go, but tonight we're like 4 days from now. We're 6 months into the invasion, right? And it'll also be Ukraine's Independence Day on the 24th. Both Ukraine's independence and 6 months in. And if you're still repeating the Russian talking points at this point, at 6 months in, you are sincerely ignorant and chosenly misinformed. You have chosen that route. Nobody else has chosen that for you. You are choosing that. You are actively doing that. And that actually takes more work, I think. It would take more work to lie and repeat the Russian narrative and keep up on that. I can't imagine. Like, I see some of these channels that are parroting the Russian lies, and all you got to do is move the goalposts, I guess, and just create a new lie for a new lie. But that would, I mean, my mental health would be deteriorated doing that.
This is a scary thing, for real. Planes are really scary. This is like not scary anymore.
Yes.
Our guys. So yeah, John Sweeney in Bakhmut, Ukraine, still Ukraine.
They're in Bakhmut.
Yes. So, I have a simple message for Vladimir Putin, and it goes like this. Vladimir Putin, do fuck off.
There you go.
Love from Bakhmut.
He's in Bakhmut. Damn, dude. John Sweeney's right on the front lines. That's right on the Russian, where the Russians are advancing into Soledar. You can see the vehicle behind him. Vladimir Putin, do F off. War Diary Day 178. Bakhmut at night. A town of 100,000 emptied by Vladimir Putin's killing machine.
This is downtown Bakhmut. You can get a flavor of how creepy everything is. The town is virtually empty. There's a tiny number, maybe 2% of the pre-war population left, and we're passing. It's hard to see it because it's just so dark, but there's a bloody great big hole in the apartment building there. Windows smashed.
We need more video. We need more reporting from Bakhmut in that area. I'm glad John's there. Dangerous area to be in right now. Again, if you're just tuning in now, I'll show you where John is on the map. He's right on the front lines right now. If he's in Bakhmut, he's right here on this city. I don't know how close to it. I mean, he wasn't even wearing kit, so I can't imagine he's like too close. But he's right on the Russian advance. The latest Russian advance successes are right here. So he's right over there.
Every now and then there's a crump from incoming Russian artillery. How far is the Russian army away, Vlad?
I think it's about 4.5 kilometers.
God, 4 kilometers? How close are they, dude? What are y'all on right now? They're wild. They're 4.5 kilometers away. So where would that be? That's really close. Then they are next to the front lines. Let me see. You see, here's their position on the MO3. How far away would 4 kilometers be? There. That's about 4.68 kilometers away from the Russian front line here. The city of Bakhmut. Let me circle it. They're very close. What are they? John's experienced, but that's very close. That's about 4.6. So they're a little less than that. A little bit less. This is the Russian front lines, town of Bakhmut. Wow.
So that's 2.5 miles, folks. That's a little too close to comfort, but remember that there is the very best of the Ukrainian army between them and us, and the Ukrainians have got drones and thermal imagery and cameras watching all the time. So although this is spooky, it's doable. But this is, you get some sense of it, just how grim this bloody war is.
It's like 100,000 people town empty.
Yes.
Wow.
And so, I mean, when people in the West worry about refugees or gas prices, remember this. This is how the ordinary, extraordinary people of Ukraine are suffering. This is why there are so many refugees.
Oh, hey, Andy Shea with 5 gifted memberships to the chat. Hey, 5 lucky chatters are gonna get a monthly membership here. Shout out to Andy Shea.
Putin's killing machine has stolen their homes. Love from Bakhmut.
Love from Bakhmut. That's a report from John Sweeney. John Sweeney in Bakhmut. Wow, very close to the front lines. I'm not sure who's going to get those subs or who's going to get the memberships. I don't know who gets them. When I do it, it tells me, but that's what's not going to tell me. Maybe no. Thank you, Andy. So 5 of y'all have memberships now. You have to comment and figure out who it is. I don't know who got them. It goes to randoms. So that's it from John Sweeney. Now let's go down the... Any questions really quick before we go? I did the map update, and then I did John Sweeney to kind of take my mind because the couple of the same trolls that continue to just not have a perspective change after all of this information for 6 months. This is a long... listen, I made it a year and a half with the protests in the United States. We're getting 6 months of coverage of this. Pretty extensive, and you still haven't changed anything. Annoys the hell out of me. Oh, there we go. There's some names. So we got... Hey, St. Javelin got a sub. St. Javelin got one. Rainianetsky USA was gifted one. Now they're starting to pop up. Share $9.99 super chat. I'm starting to see him come into the chat now. Very nice gesture from Andy, giving gifted memberships. So YouTube's trying to keep up with Twitch because Twitch obviously has the gifted subs feature. Nice. Oh, Lolo Holly was gifted a membership. So there's 3. 1, 2, 3 members. Easy Shifty became a member. Thank you so much. The recreational anger. I'm out of safety meeting. That's probably why. Oh, and we got Ursula Sezina Spanska was gifted a membership. There's some gifted memberships popping up in the chat now. There you go. You heard that Russia will do a massive... Well, I've heard both ways now. I've heard both Russian sources. I mean, no matter what, the 24th, we're going to be live. What day is the 24th? That's in 4 days from now. Any questions about the war, though? We're not done. We have some more video to go through, but any questions? So the 24th is Wednesday of next week. There'll probably be some big coverage on Wednesday of next week for Ukraine's independence. Also, is going to mark the 6th month of the invasion, too. Oh, and Justin Kerber was gifted a membership. Shout out to Justin. He's a member now. So Justin, Rainin, you got Uzla, Lolo Howell, and St. Javelin. All becoming members today. Shout out to Andy for the gifts. Any questions? Mercado BD, we haven't seen many vids anymore of Russians fighting in supermarkets for sugar. Are you talking about the stealing? Are you referencing stealing sugar? Congrats on the memberships from everyone in the chat. Any questions though about everything that's going on here? This is like a Q&A section before we go into more video. Or anything you want me to quick look up. It takes 2 seconds. Someone had brought up someone had wanted to see the update on the nuclear power plant, which we did in the first stream, but I'll touch on this again since we lost connection. Nuclear power plant. Okay, so here, let's get this update. So someone had asked about the NPP. Anything else y'all want me to pull up, I will. So here, Zelensky warns of ugly Russian attack before Independence Day, which is, again, that's coming up on the 24th. Kyiv, August 21st. This is like, again, in the future. It's still the 20th here. This is from tomorrow. We're not even in tomorrow yet. President Vladimir Zelensky urged Ukrainians to be vigilant ahead of Wednesday's celebrations to mark 31 years of independence from Soviet rule, as fresh blasts hit Crimea and a missile wounded 12 civilians near a nuclear power plant. Ukrainians must not allow Moscow to spread despondency and fear ahead of the August 24th events, which also comes 6 months after Russia began its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. We must all be aware that this week Russia could try to do something particularly ugly, something particularly vicious. Curfew in Ukraine's second largest city, Kharkiv, is extended for the entire day Wednesday, said Regional Governor Ole Subbanev. The curfew usually runs from 10 to 6, regularly hit by Russian shelling. So you're going to have an extended curfew for Wednesday's Independence Day. Remain at home and take heed of warnings. Also on Saturday, a Russian missile hit a residential area of southern Ukrainian town not too far from a nuclear power station. That's the Zaporizhzhia NPP. Wounded 14 civilians, Russian and Ukrainian officials had said. The strike in southern Ukraine nuclear station and fresh shelling at the Zaporizhzhia station, Europe's largest, revived fears of a nuclear accident. So this is saying there were 2 strikes. There was another strike at a power plant? Looks like there were 2 strikes. Let's look up this quick. This is a very difficult word to say. It starts with a P. Risk. From Radio Free Europe. So this is from the 20th. Russian shelling hit residential area in Ukrainian town near a nuclear plant. So this is in the southern area of Mykolaiv. This is a different power plant. So there have been 2 shelling. So Russia's shelling near a power plant in Mykolaiv. You think they're not doing it around Zaporizhzhia either? Or like they were doing it around Chernobyl? Let's not forget who is... Oh, dude. Russia's provocating a nuclear disaster in the making here. Multiple nuclear disasters. A 5-story apartment building and private homes in the town of Voznesek were badly damaged by shelling that collapsed balconies and blew out windows, the Black Sea region's governor Vitaly Kim had said. Voznesek is about 30 kilometers from... Oh, man.
Pivdeniukransk.
That's how you say it. Nuclear power plant, the second largest in Ukraine. There were no reports of any damage to the nuclear power plant. The state-run Energoatom, which manages all 4 Ukrainian nuclear energy generators, described the attack on Voznesek as another act of Russian nuclear terrorism, which they've had nuclear terrorism since the invasion. They held Chernobyl against their will. Like that was forgotten apparently. All of the workers at the Chernobyl power plant and all of that hard work to restore the reactor. I've been watching videos on YouTube for the last few years, watching that new roof that they built to protect the reactor that blew up in the 80s. Which I highly recommend watching Chernobyl on HBO. That was a really good show I watched. That was well before all of this, but watch that if you haven't. The international community has expressed deep concern over the risk of disaster at the Zaporizhzhia plant amid reports of fighting in its vicinity in recent days. Both Ukraine and Russia have accused each other of shelling the plant. So you got two nuclear plant situations going on in the town of Pivdeniukransk. One more time. How do you say this?
Pivdeniukransk.
Pivdeniukransk. And then you have the Zaporizhzhia NPP. Zelensky in his speech also referred obliquely to a recent series of explosions in Crimea, the Ukrainian territory Russia annexed in 2014. Ukraine has not claimed responsibility for the attacks, but analysts have said at least some of them have been made possible by new equipment used by its forces. You can literally feel Crimea in the air this year. That the occupation there is only temporary. Clearly, you see how fast they're evacuating out of Crimea. Crimea doesn't belong to Russia. They don't care about that shit. It's a nice vacation peninsula. They're on the beaches chilling while the war is going on. Not even 200 kilometers away, 192 kilometers from the front lines, and you got people chilling on the beaches. Full-scale war taking place, chilling. That's how you know that they have no attachment to Crimea. Razyanovia said the region's anti-aircraft system had again been in operation and asked residents to stop filming and disseminating pictures of how it was working. Ukrainian media reported explosions in nearby towns, among them the resorts of Yevatoporia, Olenivka, and Zazoznoye. How do you say this one? Zazoznoye. Yeah, Zazoznoye. Some of these cities are very difficult to say. I do the best I can. So, ugly Russian attack before Independence Day, Zelensky warns. From the Washington Post, this was posted 13 minutes ago. Anxiety surrounds Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant amid unrelieved fears of an attack. Anxiety continued to surround Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine on Saturday, following stark warnings by both sides of a potential attack on the facility, with fear coursing through the region and rippling around the globe. The specter of a possible attack on the plant, the largest in Europe, loomed over large over the grinding war, with Russian and Ukrainian officials accusing the other nation of courting calamity and risking a nuclear disaster. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky accused Russia of conducting blackmail with radiation in an address to the nation. Russian President Vladimir Putin has in turn accused Ukraine of shelling the plant and risking a large-scale catastrophe, an assertion unsupported by evidence. Even as the situation surrounding the plant remains perilous, Russian authorities also said to have been ramping up their security in Crimea amid reports of drone attacks in the region, which Moscow annexed in 2014. Russian authorities are visibly increasing security measures in Crimea, indicating growing worry among Russian authorities and civilians about the threat of Ukrainian strikes on rear areas previously believed to be secure. So, all week, just attacks in Crimea. Week before, big attack in Crimea at the airbase. It continues. The shellings do continue. Now let's go to the war report from Rob Lee. Get all the latest video clips and updates that have come out. I'm hurting, y'all. I am safety meeting deprived. I don't even have any. I'm all out. I have to figure out a time, maybe sometime to go up, re-up. Hard to do so. So latest video here. The UAV struck the Black Sea Fleet's headquarters in Sevastopol, according to Crimean officials. More shellings in Crimea. This is some from Saturday. Yeah, I'm all out. Like very little left. Incremental safety meetings. Yeah, I'm hurting. You have delivery in Michigan? No, they'd never do that here. No delivery. No, we don't even. It's only medically legal in Minnesota right now. Yeah, we have an interesting state. Weed is only medically legal here. Another video. Even vending machines. We don't have weed. We only have two weed shops in the whole state. 2 or 3. Only medical, unfortunately. Reportedly footage of UAV that struck the Black Sea Fleet's headquarters. It looks like the same kind of UAV used to strike the oil facility Rostov from June. How loud that is. You can hear that coming from a mile away. Loud as hell. It's the same one.
Да, это беспилотник.
Sounds like they're cutting trees down or something.
Да нет, конечно. Не вижу.
Sounds like some trees being chopped down. Some yard work. Oh. It doesn't matter how cheap they are, they're working though. Again, this is on Russian targets. That's a Russian oil refinery that was hit. Flew right into it.
бахнули.
Yeah, very loud. They're kamikaze drones. Very loud ones.
Ну да, с той стороны прилетел.
So that's a Russian oil refinery being hit by that same type of drone. The same type of UAV was used to strike the Russian oil facility. Loud drone. Attacking Black Sea Fleet's headquarters. There's a picture. So you have the headquarters of the Black Sea Fleet was hit today. We have an orc emoji. There is one. We need an orc, like a orc hunter picture, I think. Like a picture emoji. Here's Russian air defenses were active in Sevastopol from Friday to Saturday.
Это что?
Что, ПВО?
Those are Russian air defenses. I gotta move my gaming stream back some now.
The Twilight Shift.
Oops. So yeah, that was video Russian air defenses. I got my gaming stream tonight that's coming up. Definitely got to move that back because of all the issues. So if you're shout out to Snack Squad if you're waiting. There will also be a gaming stream, but we gotta finish this first. Sounds as though Russian air defenses tried to engage the UAV. Were they shooting at it Were they just shooting at it with small arms? That's what it sounds like. Dead. Yeah, they're trying to shoot it down with their AKs. They ain't got what air defense? Start hammering that shit. They ain't got no air defense. They're shooting at it with small arms fire. Start hammering that. Hammer those Crimean positions. Fuck that. They don't have no air defense right there. They're shooting at it. Like... Alright. Alright. Crimea is going to continue to get hammered. Moment of the UAV strike on Black Sea Fleet's headquarters. Oof. There's the cloud, the plume of smoke from the strike. Some dude popping bubble wrap. Might as well. Same effect.
Штаб флота опять нанесли удар.
Oof. More people in Crimea watching what's going on. Footage of the aftermath of the UAV attack. That's a UAV too. That's not even a HIMARS strike. Oh, out on vacation still.
Я вижу, это...
Dude, I would not.
Я вижу, это...
No, tonight's game is Spider-Man Remastered on the PC. Spider-Man Remastered tonight. You can hear gunfire in the background. So this is all from Sevastopol today. Russians trying to shoot down that UAV that hit the Black Sea Fleet's headquarters with small arms fire.
Пошел вниз, сбили. Есть. Взорвался. Вон дым поднимается. Не знаю, видно вам или нет. Летает беспилотник над бухтой и по нему стреляют.
Again, that small arms fire, that popping noise you hear.
Пошел вниз, сбили. Есть. Взорвался. Вон дым поднимается.
All right. Russian air defenses are also reportedly active. Air defenses. That's what I said. Do you mean these air defenses? That's what I'm saying. Shoot that shit down. All right, so that's what happened in Crimea today. So attacks continue on key Russian positions in Crimea. Video of Ukrainian artillery strike on Russian Zupar counter battery radar. So that's another dumbass argument about keeping the war going longer because we're sending money to Ukraine. That's gonna. I'm taking all these arguments and talking points, and I will be likely debating people eventually because that's what's gonna take, or like, just how I gauge arguments. So that's an argument. We're keeping the war going longer by assisting Ukraine. Interesting. Okay. Gotta keep that one in my notes for dumbass arguments to counter. Another, what we're looking at here again is a Ukrainian UAV dropping a munition on a Russian BTR. So more Russian vehicles getting blown up. Loitering munition being dropped. Oof. One more time on this. There's a trench position next to it. Oof. What was it? Does it say an ammunition position too? Yeah, munition on a... It looks like an ammunition dump too there. All the secondary explosions. Or maybe it was just a fully loaded, ready to go piece of equipment. Oof. Lots of secondaries. Which bridge, Stan? The Antonivsky or the Novakhovka Dam? So here's Russian air defenses in Crimea. Were they even laughing too? What was that, a laugh at the end? Oh, it's all funny. All right, Russians in Crimea watching the air defenses being used, or one air defense. There's more Russian air defenses active in Sevastopol again. Oof. Yo, they're using small arms for air defenses. Ukraine needs to start hammering Crimea now. They're using small arms to counter. Oh my. They don't have the equipment then. Are they using an AA gun for cruise? Oh my god, dude. That's not good for the Russians, I guess. Good for Ukrainian counteroffensive. That's going to be coming. Oof. They need to hit Crimea again and again. Another video. Oh. It sounds like a lot of people outside watching this. A lot of people outside watching. Another video, Pantsir S1. Okay, so Pantsir S1 system that we're looking at here. Here's the Pantsir air defense system. This is what Russia's using to protect Crimea and other areas of Ukraine. Protect their occupation.
Against air attacks determines the capacity of a state to deter external aggression. A modern, effective air defense system can be built around the Pantsir S1 self-propelled anti-aircraft gun missile system. The uniqueness of the Pantsir S1 system is that its target and missile acquisition and tracking equipment, together with missile and cannon armament, are mounted on one combat vehicle, which provides a continuous target engagement zone at ranges of up to 20 kilometers and altitudes of up to 15 kilometers. The maximum speed of engaged targets is 1,000 meters per second. The Pantsir S1 can be mounted on wheeled or tracked chassis and is also available in a container variant. Its special version, mounted on an articulated tracked vehicle, has been developed for operation in Arctic conditions. The weapon system can acquire and engage targets.
Russia has a variant of like all of these in Ukraine.
On the move.
That first one is one that we saw in Kyiv, actually. This vehicle right here, it's chilling. That vehicle, this Cam AZ vehicle, you see frequently. That's the Cam. Whenever I say the Cam AZ trucks, Cam AZ, whatever, that's that. And then there's also one that's burned, and one of these are burned out and destroyed in Independence Square in Kyiv right now too.
The weapon system can acquire and engage targets while on the move, making its detection and destruction difficult. One combat vehicle can simultaneously engage up to 4 air targets. The Pantsir S1 system includes combat assets, maintenance assets, and training aids. The combat assets include combat vehicle, surface-to-air missiles, and 30mm rounds.
That's over here in the 30mm being fired.
The combat vehicle's armament.
They're not shooting missiles though. They shot. Well, there's only one video of a missile being shot. I wonder if they're like out of missiles.
Comprised of a launcher.
They're using the 30mm.
With 12 ready-to-fire surface-to-air missiles.
Yeah, we didn't see those being used.
Two A-38M 30mm anti-aircraft guns with 1,400 rounds.
That's what you're seeing That's what you're seeing in the video. The 30mm right here. 2 of them.
Anti-aircraft
gun. Two like an AA gun on top of this thing.
With 1,400 rounds. The 2-stage missile is fitted with a solid rocket booster.
Hey, shout out to Mehmet in the chat. We all watched your video on the last stream. Mehmet did a great job, which will be posted to the YouTube channel tomorrow on Mercado Media. Mehmet's work at the Independence Square today in Kyiv.
Its 20-kilogram high-performance warhead accounts for 70% of the sustainer stage's weight. The automatic anti-aircraft guns, with a total rate of fire of up to 5,000 rounds per minute, use 30mm projectiles with a muzzle velocity exceeding 900 meters per second.
Some training aids in there too.
Training aids make it possible to efficiently train personnel in target engagement at minimal cost to ensure high results during firing. The Panzer S-1 anti-aircraft gun missile system is the best in its class air defense weapon. It can provide protection against any modern air attack weapons.
Except for HIMARS. Cannon fodder for HIMARS, but that's what you're seeing in that video. That's what you're seeing being used here. The Panzer S-1 system. Those are the 30mm being used. This is in Crimea, Sevastopol. Okay, continuing on here. That's what's going on in Sevastopol. Another useful role played by UAVs. Video showing a Ukrainian UAV dropping medical gear. You're not seeing a mortar being dropped. You're seeing medical gear. There you go. Doesn't Amazon already deliver via drone in like the United Kingdom and like some places in Europe? I swear that Amazon delivers on Amazon drone. Amazon should get involved here. Yeah, they do have one. Put some medical supplies on there. Amazon has its own drone. We're looking at it right now. Start delivering some medical supplies. Look at that thing. Thing looks like a miniature TIE fighter. Is this the one that shows that carry the package though? There's one that specifically shows it carrying a package. There it is. Yeah, you can probably store shit inside of that in the center console. You could put a whole bunch of medical supplies in there. Can't remember saw Amazon is preparing for safe drone delivery. This is just posted on the 9th. Amazon's getting involved in Ukraine, watch. This is posted on the 9th. You're going to start seeing Amazon drones in Ukraine. Bet on it.
We've all heard the story. Amazon wants to make delivery by aerial drones a reality for its customers.
Some people have greeted this story with enthusiasm.
Look at that thing.
Others?
You see how big that one was? What was that, a RoboCop drone? What is Amazon? Amazon's going to become Skynet. Watch. Amazon's going to be our timeline's Skynet. For real. Look at that thing, dude. What is that? Why is that needed? Is for like big items?
Delivery by aerial drones a reality for its customers.
Some people have greeted this story
Thing's massive.
with enthusiasm. Others thought it was science fiction.
And the people charged with actually making this story happen are greeting it with open minds and ingenuity. The kind of gusto that only people who believe in the art of the possible and in themselves can feel.
We began this journey in 2013.
There it is.
A dedicated collection of safety, aerospace,
science, robotics, software, and hardware experts working together, drafting, building, fixing, inventing, trying, retrying, improving. Making this program a reality would mean making drones that are safe, reliable, and scalable. It'd mean
there you go, put your box in.
Thousands of flight hours and testing our drones obsessively, pushing prototypes past their limits, learning, and building a better aircraft each time.
Bruh.
They'd have to use sense and avoid systems to help keep them away
It looks
from
like a TIE fighter or something.
obstacles like people and pets, and to make decisions on their own. These drones would have to be smart enough to know how to choose the correct path forward, even if that path is backward. They'd have to be smart enough to know when the safest thing to do is to turn around and head back home. So we did all that.
Wow.
And now, later this year, uncrewed autonomous aircraft will be delivering packages to customers living in Lockford, California and College Station, Texas.
California and College Station, Texas are about to get this.
In less than an hour.
In less than an hour? Wait, from where to where? So you go from California to College Station, Texas in less than an hour, I said? For deliveries?
Texas. In less than an hour.
Wow. There's your package.
Create new jobs, build partnerships with local organizations.
I can think of at least like 6 jobs that this thing takes out right here. What you talking about? It creates jobs, maybe to build these things.
With climate change on future generations. So many chapters of this story are yet to be written. Today is just the beginning.
Great. So Skynet's on the way. We have that to look forward to. So, anyways, the reason I pulled that up is seeing these Ukrainian UAVs dropping some medical supplies reminded me of the Amazon drones, which are apparently station in California are going to have them. Take video. I want to see it if you live around that area. Does it deliver? I wish it would. That's what I'm thinking too. I'm sitting here the whole time like, damn, can you airdrop me a safety meeting? Can I call in an airdrop? Get a pound? Video from Ukraine's 30th Mechanized Brigade of Russian equipment exploding. It's been a common listen. I don't think there's been one Russian video this entire stream yet. They haven't posted any. It's been all Ukrainian destroys Russian vehicle or targets the entire time. UPS has drones, I'm guessing already. We will after this video. This is the last video in our timeline. Then we got the Reddit timeline of videos to go through. I'll look at UPS's drone next. Why is it even more wild than Amazon's? Oh wow. God dang. Oh my goodness. There is no videos of Russians anything today. And Robbie usually posts something from the Russian side. There's been nothing. They had their Army Expo. Maybe they're running out of lies to post. Running out of ideas. They're low on morale, they're low on numbers, they're low on people to fight the war. I'm thinking this winter though, it's gonna go back. Oh wow, there it is. This winter, when winter comes around, it's gonna go back to like how it was for the last 8 years. It's gonna be very hard to move for either side. I think they're gonna get bogged down into their trenches, and it's gonna be like Cold World War I, with drones. Like, it already is now, but at least you have some ground fighting and the terrain isn't like frozen and snow everywhere. But during the wintertime, it's going to go back to how it was for the last 8 years, I believe. It's not going to end before winter, unfortunately. If it does, great. Hope it does. If Vladimir Putin wakes up tomorrow and someone threatens to do something or whatever, and he just is like, yeah, I'm pulling out of Ukraine now, oh, that'd be great too. But that's not going to happen either. Emotions of foreign fighters when they returned after a successful operation. Today, the International Legion repelled an attack by Russians north of Kharkiv Oblast. In a nearby area, according to information from prisoners of war, the Russians were forced to flee and ended up in their own minefield. Interesting. Here, these Chechens. So again, these are the foreign fighters. Today, the International Legion repelled an attack by Russians north of Kharkiv Oblast. No, these are Ukrainian Chechens. Yep. These are Ukrainian Chechens. He's saying. So, one quick identifying factor, obviously besides the words that were just said. Not too much. There's the blue band you can see on his arm. Ukraine wears blue, yellow, and green. So he's wearing a blue armband there. It's a Ukrainian soldier. All right. More on that. So here, this is another video from Alexander Dugin, who is one of Putin's top propagandists in the war. He has reportedly been killed. His daughter has been killed in a car explosion. Russian violinist Peter Lundstrom says that Daria Dugina was returning from the traditional festival. Her father was supposed to get into this car, but left in another one. Dang. So that was supposed to be Dugin. It was his daughter. Got his daughter instead of him. Here's more from that. That's likely Dugin right there. There's still video coming out. This is a video, and people on social media have already shared this, saying that this is likely Dugin right here. Shocked. So, again, that's the Alexander Dugin, the ideological mastermind in the Ukrainian invasion, also known for being the founder of the Nazbol Front and the writer of the Foundation of Geopolitics, arrives at the place where the successful attack killed his daughter in Moscow 2 hours ago. I'm not sure what this says. Caption reads, electronic banner on Crimean bridge hacked, or controllers are messing around. Oh, they hacked the, what does it say? Oh, welcome to Ukraine. They hacked the bridge in Crimea. What does that say? Got him. Listen, Zelensky's not screwing around. He said that this is gonna lead to Ukraine taking Crimea back. Crimea returning to Ukraine. Ukrainian Crimea is a part of the southern operational goals of the Ukraine. Got him right on the bridge. Must have hacked the sign. Nice. So again, here we saw Mehmet's video, which you go check out the first stream from tonight, or just wait for tomorrow at 9 a.m. that's gonna post. But here's some more video, not Mehmet's. Mehmet did the best video in my opinion. Shout out to Mehmet. But here's some more video from the same happening of the dead tank parade in Kyiv. There's the howitzers. This camera person's like running through the tanks. Or probably on a skateboard or something, honestly. Moving, or on a bike. Moving pretty smooth. Yep, Graveyard of Tanks. Was supposed to be a parade in Kyiv, in Independence Square, after Russia took Kyiv in 3 days. They had planned a parade. They had brought parade uniforms. They had their vehicles decorated, ready to go for a parade. So here is Putin's parade. There's the parade of Russian vehicles. Oh, they had vehicles across the entire... This is like the main square area now. They had vehicles on this entire street. We watched this street for hours. Street Hershadik. Mehmet, I'm trying to find you in the video. I haven't seen you yet. But this looks like before Mehmet was out there, because there was a lot of people when Mehmet was out there. Looks like they're still getting the vehicles like set up. That'd be a morale boost if you were like like if you worked in public safety or whatever, or the Department of Transportation. So like that's how it works in Minnesota in the United States. Like these work vehicles that are transporting these vehicles and dropping them off. Imagine like working for the city of Kyiv and like that's your job, is to lay out the destroyed Russian vehicles for the day. Because yeah, they're laying them out right now in this video. This is before Mehmet got out there. Russian helicopter shot down by Ukraine with man pads. Ukraine bought their man pads. Oof. Shot down a Russian helicopter with the man pads. Oh, one more time. There it is in the air. So you can kind of see it's right here. Very difficult to see. It might be even harder to see through the stream because it's extra compressed video. But it's right here. I'm trying to circle it for y'all so you can follow it. Right here on the screen. Still about center screen. Another one gets shot below it. Bang. There were two helicopters. That one we were looking at was above it. This one was below. Let's try to find that. I didn't realize there were two. Good thing I did this. So this helicopter up above flies away. That's the one I said to look at. Where does the second one come into the frame? Super potato. There it is. So there's two helicopters. This one gets shot by the man pads, and the one that we were looking at the beginning is above it. Is this? No, this is completely destroyed. Yeah. The video quality is not the best here to zoom in. Ukrainian strikes in Crimea are having major psychological and operational effects on Moscow's forces, Western officials have told journalists. Explosions at the Saki airbase on 9th of August and other assaults have put more than half of the Black Sea Fleet's naval jets out of action.
Well, let's return to that top story this hour, that the latest drone attack reported in the Crimean Peninsula. In recent weeks, Russian military facilities in Crimea...
420 viewers in the chat. We're smoking not on Ukrainian Crimea. We're smoking on Russian occupation authorities Crimea. We're smoking on that right now. Smoking on the occupation of Crimea. When it returns to Ukraine, we won't be smoking on it. We'll be cheering for it because it's Ukraine's. But right now, we're smoking on that Crimea pack.
Crimea have increasingly come under attack from Ukrainian forces. In July, Russian officials alleged that a Ukrainian drone attack forced an end to Navy Day celebrations in Sevastopol. On the 9th of August, at least 8 Russian fighter jets were destroyed in the bombardment of Saki Air Base. A week later, there were explosions at an arms depot near the town of Zankoy. Moscow has blamed the explosion on sabotage. And yesterday, on Friday, officials in Crimea claimed a Ukrainian drone was shot down near a key military airfield. Well, we can go live to Kyiv now and join James Waterhouse, our correspondent there. And what can you tell us, James, about this latest attack?
Well, we know what the pictures suggest. It's very difficult given how deep it is inside Russian-occupied territory. There's been verified footage which appears to show black smoke coming out of a building in Sevastopol, where authorities say the roof of the headquarters of the Black Sea Fleet headquarters was hit after a Ukrainian drone was shot down. But let's take a step away from that. This has been 11 days, which has seen Crimea destabilized in a way that few predicted. This is part of Ukrainian territory which Russia has occupied and controlled for 8 years. So much so, Russian tourists used it as a regular holiday destination. They stood there in their swimming trunks and bikinis and watched on as ammunition depots were engulfed in flames. So the Moscow-installed authorities there today are urging people to stay calm as the peninsula gets drawn into this conflict. And clearly Ukraine is using a new capability to strike further behind enemy lines. That said, it hasn't officially admitted responsibility, but it has taken great delight in the images we're seeing today.
Obviously that's significant then, but what sort of impact is it having in general terms on Russia's forces in total?
There is very little troop movement in the sense of how the front lines are moving. We've had weeks of Ukraine hinting at a sizable counter-offensive on the city of Kherson, one of the first cities to fall in this war, further north from Crimea. That has not happened. We are seeing a front line spanning hundreds of miles running all the way through to the Donbass region, where there has been, again, little movement. This is fast becoming a conflict of artillery and longer-range missile attacks. The US has delivered another £650 million package, including missiles, radar systems, smaller explosives, and it is allowing Ukraine to hold the defensive line, but as ever, it isn't allowing Ukraine to do anything further than that. Nevertheless, these strikes further into Russian-occupied territory will frustrate its supply lines, but also it does send a message, and it makes it difficult for Russia to sell this war back inside the country.
Right, and just if I can ask you separately about what's going on at Zaporizhzhia, the nuclear plant. We've been hearing Russia talk about possibly allowing UN officials access to the site.
This will be all about the details. So the Kremlin has announced that it will give United Nations inspectors the help needed to get access to the site. It's after a conversation between President Putin and Emmanuel Macron of France. And this is what Ukraine, the West, the United Nations has been calling for a while, along with the zone at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, Europe's largest, to be demilitarized, for Russia to effectively pull out and hand back control to Ukraine. Moscow has continually refused to do that, saying it would leave the area vulnerable. It's also accused Ukraine of staging provocations by shelling the site. Kyiv in turn accuses Russia of shelling the site themselves to send a message or create a false narrative about what the Ukrainians are apparently doing. So this is a breakthrough in what is an incredibly tense, nervous situation. What will the inspectors want to do? They'll want to check staff's capability to monitor the reactor, staff who have told the BBC that they're often kept at gunpoint. They'll want to check on the power supply, because we've spoken to former officials here in Kyiv who say that as the Russians try to redirect power to...
I don't understand why. I mean, maybe it's just the world and how we are. Just short memory. Like, they did the exact same thing in Crimea, not in Crimea, at Chernobyl, at the Chernobyl plant, and during the initial invasion, they held the staff at the Chernobyl plant hostage, dug trenches in. Some of them got radiation poisoning because because Chernobyl's like fucked for the next 2,000 years or whatever they said. I mean, you're gonna get radiation there, but they did the exact same thing in Chernobyl that they're doing at the Zaporizhzhia plant, and the world's like, oh, no, I don't get it, dude. They've done this already.
Power grid. There's a chance the site could be cut off.
They wouldn't do that.
Generators would, in theory, kick in, but if those were to fail, then that would heighten concerns about the state of those nuclear reactors. So, yes, it's a breakthrough, but it will be all about the detail, and I think longer-term concerns around continued fighting just aren't going to go away.
Okay, thanks for now. James Waterhouse there for us live in...
James Waterhouse providing some insight from what Russia's going to have to deal with some of their citizens in Crimea that are seeing the war firsthand. They can't propagandize the Crimean citizens. They're at the beach watching the damn things blow up. They're not in Russia watching it through their TV. A video was launched on Russian television, beginning with the words of Vladimir Zelensky, "Everyone who sees the precious land of Crimea must remember, this is not the land where they will be calm." And they're hacking TVs again. Tapping into Russia's state programming. Zelensky's standing strong on this. He's standing firm on this. Crimea will return to Ukraine. That's why there's so many in Crimea that are leaving. Crimea looks like a beautiful place. I don't want to see it destroyed. I would rather see just Russian military targets continue to get destroyed. Like the fall of Mariupol, that's just so sad. That city was so beautiful. Crimea does look like it does look like a vacation spot. I mean, it does. That's exactly what it looks like, but it's not Russia's vacation spot. No, not for long. Kyiv celebrates destroyed Russian equipment.
The afternoon report from Mike Dunn.
Mike Dunn. That's an American. How do I get there, dude?
The afternoon report from Maidan.
Oh, from Maidan. I thought he said the afternoon report from Mike Dunn. I've had a couple safety meetings now. It's starting to kick in. So he's saying it's from Maidan. Got it.
The afternoon report from Maidan. August 20th.
Mehmet had the best video.
Gotta love a headless tank.
Do you love a headless tank or a headless Russian tank? That's a BTR.
That's some beautiful equipment.
Beautiful equipment.
The
destroyed. I'm telling you, Mehmet had the best video out there. It's going to be posted on Mercado Media tomorrow morning. So there's the air defense. Air defenses. We already looked it up. It's the 30 millimeters. They got the 30 millimeters firing. Okay. And then Sevastopol, we've seen that. Here's a traffic jam trying to leave Crimea. Trying to leave the Crimean Peninsula into Russia. I don't know how we ended up getting 2 hours and 15 minutes out of this. If you missed the first part of the stream, which I don't even remember, I don't even know how long that stream was. It should be posted already. That was about 40 minutes. Part 1 was posted already. It's a 39-minute stream, and then my stream got cut a little earlier tonight. I had lost connection. Oh, great. Here we go. On his show tonight, Dmitry Kiselyov says that European countries are backing Ukraine against Russia because they want revenge for the battles of Poltava, which was in 1709, and Borodino, which was in 1812, and Stalingrad from 42 to 43. Keep in mind, though, this is a very popular Russian TV program, like one of the top ones.
Нам же они простить до сих пор и не могут. Шведы унижение армии Карла XII под Полтавой. И вот теперь они просят именно за Полтаву добить Россию.
That was in 1709.
Самих-то кишка тонка, и вот нашли дурачков на Украине повоевать с Россией. Мол, добейте гадину. Французы за Бородино, что стало...
Borodino, Napoleon's great army, which is in 1812.
Наполеоновская великая армия, армады в 600 тысяч человек, стратегическим надломом в походе на Россию. А ведь с Наполеоном кто только не шел. Поляки, итальянцы, испанцы, даже швейцарцы. Да что говорить, половина воинов великой армии были германоговорящими. Прусаки, австрийцы, саксонцы.
And this is also so garbage too, because Russia was on the, like, again, if Hitler didn't do what he did in World War II and like kind of double cross Stalin, Russia would have been an Axis power. Hitler double crossed Stalin.
И вот сегодня
They were buddies before that.
с тех пор
It's all junk.
пожимают украинскому министру обороны руки и приговаривают: добейте гадину. Мол, за нас. А немцы, со слов Арестовича Резникова, подмигивали молча, но, надо думать, тоже могли бы добавить за Сталинград и за Берлин. Добейте гадину, а то у нас тоже не получилось. К слову, в Сталинградской битве, кроме немцев, участвовали тысячи итальянцев и румын. А что до Берлина, то его, кроме германских дивизий, защищала дивизия СС «Нордланд», состоявшая из датчан, голландцев и норвежцев. Рейхстаг же...
Oh yeah, Pat knew it. That's why he didn't trust the Russians. The Reichstag itself was defended by the French SS division. Still doesn't take away from the atrocities that, I mean, the Nazis did to the Russian people, but at the same time, Russia was very close to being an Axis power in the World War II. Right? So just a bunch of want revenge for Poltava, which again 1709, Borodino in 1812, and then Stalingrad, which is 42 to 43 from the Nazis. And so that's why so many European countries are backing Ukraine instead of Russia. That's how you know that this type of programming, or this type of media, and this type of and the people that watch this type of media are sheep. They're going to this to be programmed and to be told how to think, because that's the only reason that you'd bring up shit from 1709, 1812, just to create a completely, just in that little pocket of information from Dmitry Kiselyov there alone. Just complete garbage. Battle-hardened UA soldier calm changing exposed position while through... Wow, let me try to read that again. Battle-hardened UA soldier calmly changing exposed position while through inaccurate Russian barrage. Okay, so it's a Ukrainian soldier changing his fighting position while taking Russian artillery fire. All right. Into a vehicle though? Ooh, I don't know about that. Oh no.
Там носят все подряд. Слухаем выходы. Выход.
Bruh.
Быстро.
One more time on that. Oh, so he's got his vehicle under the camo there.
Там носят все подряд. Слухаем выходы. Выход.
Wow.
Быстро.
Wow, wow, wow. So as a soldier taking cover while the Russians were shelling.
Just imagine, for months you've been planning to buy a new car. After choosing between...
It's a commercial?
much needed parts for the leading European car makers, including Audi, BMW, and of all Europeans, and even seat uphold.
What is going on here? I don't know what this video is. It looked like an ad. I don't know what that is. Oh, just Ukraine produces so many useful things all over the world.
Just
oh, okay.
imagine, for months you've been planning to buy a new car. After choosing between models, deciding on the most stylish headlights and wheels, you finally made up your mind and set off on a long-awaited family trip around Europe. Soon, you'll enjoy spectacular views, great food, and amazing architecture. Life is beautiful, and you'll remember this trip forever. Oops, not this time. Your little dream is put on hold because your new car lacks some vital parts produced in Ukraine.
Interesting.
Here's the deal. Ukraine supplies some of the much needed parts for the leading European car makers, including Audi, BMW, Mercedes, Ford, Skoda, Volkswagen, Porsche, and Tesla. As of the beginning of the year, 22 global and regional car makers had operated in Ukraine with 38 factories, providing jobs for more than 60,000 people. These factories accounted for nearly 7% of all European imports of wire harness, let alone gear levers, central console switches, electronic seat heating systems, and even seat upholstery for the world's leading automotive brands. Oh, and if you heard of a global shortage of microchips, those tiny things which make your car windows roll up and down, your emergency braking system function, and the air condition keep you cool, you might have already heard that at least half of the world's neon, a noble gas used in chip production, was synthesized in Ukraine. When Russia started the war, many of the European car manufacturers were forced to suspend their production, trying to replace Ukrainian auto parts and preparing to cut auto production by millions of vehicles.
Twilight shift.
Having survived the shock of the first months, Ukrainian factories gradually restart production and continue working, being under the constant threat of Russian shelling. So, rest assured, your trip is saved. Although it has become pricey, because of Russia. But enough about it. Let's enjoy the beauty of the world for a moment. Do you like sea trips? Let's take one. See that MSC Seaside cruise liner? 18 decks, 323 meters in length,
holy shit,
more than 5,000 passengers capacity. It's impressive, durable, and made of Ukrainian steel. Really? In fact, there are many notable buildings around the world made of materials produced on Ukrainian steelworks, including one of the biggest ones, Azovstal.
The Azovstal, wow.
That became the symbol of unbreakable spirit of ordinary Ukrainians and defenders of Mariupol, who for 80 days withstood the severe siege of the Russian invaders. Azovstal steelworks alone provided work for 11,000 employees, accounting for every fifth ton of steel produced in Ukraine and 3.8% of all Ukrainian exports. Steel produced here was used in construction of the breathtaking 95-story Shard skyscraper in London, the bizarre Hudson Yards in Manhattan, New York, the new bridge of San Giorgio in Genoa, the Father Bernadette Bridge in the heart of Krakow, and the new sarcophagus over Chernobyl nuclear power plant that protects Europe from the consequences of the Chernobyl disaster happened in 1986. Now that this plant, just like many others, was razed to the ground by the Russian occupiers, thousands of ordinary Ukrainian hard workers have lost not only their jobs and livelihoods, but their homes and future. And yet, they keep on fighting. No matter how hard Russia tries to break the spirit of these people, Ukrainians stand up for their freedom. Support Ukraine, subscribe to United 24 channel, and donate to stop the world from Russian aggression.
All right, United 24. Ukraine. All their production that gets dispersed throughout the world. Lots of car parts. Lots of significant car parts for Europe. Like Detroit over there. 7% of automobile parts in Ukraine. That's wild. Air defense system went off twice over Olenivka. They're literally like partying. You can hear them. Like all the Crimea videos, it's always the people that are recording are like partying. Good morning from Vietnam to Ukraine. The M113 is still a useful battle taxi. I'm glad Ukraine likes them and they're using them because U.S. military hates those, dude. Good morning, Vietnam. Rest in peace, Robin Williams. I'm glad they're getting a use out of them, and they're there they are. Good movie. Russian warships fleeing their bombed out ports in the Black Sea. Oof. Not looking good at all for Russia. What is this war? Oh, that's what this war is really about. What's that? Russia taking over all of Ukraine's exports and their land for their goods. Russian propagandists report that there was an assassination attempt on collaborator Konstantin Avyachenko. Man, there's just continuous assassination attempts on these Russian puppet politicians, who has been appointed as the head of Mariupol administration by the Russian occupiers. But the only recent one that's happened again is that Alexander Dugin's daughter was just killed overnight. Which is he wrote basically the entire propaganda for Putin for the invasion of Ukraine. So it was supposed to be for him, but his daughter was in the vehicle and he got into a different one. Here's estimates of Russia's combat losses as of August 20th, according to the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Russia's losses as of August 20th. There they are on screen. There it is. I'm going to be picking up some safety supplies after this stream, y'all. I don't think... Hey, listen, hey, Snack Squad. I don't know if we're going to have time for a gaming stream after this. I forgot completely spaced, and I've been looking at the messages. We have a softball tournament tomorrow at 9, so I got to get to some sleep. It's a Sunday tournament tomorrow. I'm going to be live on Snack Squad tomorrow, though, streaming the games. But I'm going to have to get some sleep after this stream. Plus, it's midnight. We're going a little extra because of I've been gone these last few days. I haven't been around. I've been dealing with some personal things. Literally, that's what it is. It's like not like anyone else. It's my brain. I have PTSD and other things. So, like, it really debilitates me sometimes. So that's where I've been these last few days. I haven't been, like, in trouble or anything. I've been here. I've been streaming, actually. Just not the war or, like, news coverage. I've been streaming Madden because I've been stuck. But I'm going to have to get some sleep tonight and then wake up, and I have softball tomorrow. And then I'll be covering the war tomorrow, too, tomorrow night. I'll be covering it every day leading up to the Independence Day. It's getting serious down in the southern axis of Ukraine right now. Well, it's been serious for these past 3 weeks, but I mean, Russia, I mean, everyone's bracing for something to happen in Ukraine on the 24th, whether it's a Ukrainian strike on a Russian target, like another big strike in Crimea or something, or Russia causing a big provocation in Ukraine on their Independence Day. Well, regardless, I'll be live for it. I'll be live tomorrow night, and then Monday, Tuesday, and then Independence Day is Wednesday. Okay, so hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to all of the orc hunters out there in the chat. Hey, join our Telegram channel. I blast out updates like little, hey, I lost connection, or I'm not going to be live tonight type updates, like real quick community that I don't have to like tweet out or post as a status or something. So join that channel, join our Discord server. That's all those links are in the description of the video. Thank you to everybody that sent super chats. Shout out to all of our members. Thank you to Andy Shea again for the 5 gifted members tonight that are now members of Mercado Media for the next month. Thank you so much for that. Consider becoming that. Join our Patreon in the description. All the ways to support me and my journey in journalism. Thank you again so much. So again, to look forward, things to look forward to this weekend, or this week, is Ukraine's Independence Day is coming up on Wednesday. Also, I'm going to be live at the State Fair coming up. We have the Minnesota State Fair at the end of next week. I'm going to be working at it. So I'm going to be working the fair. Got to make some extra money. You know what I mean? I got to pay rent and whatnot. I got bills to pay and all that extra shit that's annoying. So I got to work the fair. That'll help give me an extra boost of money to help keep me going. That'll be great. I can pick up a second job whenever. Work an easy job and then continue stream. Nothing's going to happen to the stream. I'm going to be working the fair daytime. Get off work about 6 o'clock. I got 2 hours to get home, and then we got war coverage to do. So that's not going to stop. I might provide some more coverage from the fair. I'll definitely like take one night off, and I'll be live at the State Fair walking around. You guys, like for YouTube, you guys are more than welcome to check out what our State Fair looks like. We have the best State Fair in the entire United States. So that's not questionable. Minnesota has the best State Fair in the entire United States, both like space-wise. It's like huge. It's like the entire size of a city, and there's millions and millions and millions of people that go on a daily basis. So there's lots to look at and lots to see and lots of food and other things going on. So I'll be live out there at the State Fair, also providing State Fair content starting next week. Not like these coming days, but like the following week I will be live at the State Fair. Yep. All right, y'all. Thank you again for tuning in. Again, make sure you subscribe, like, notification bell, all that good stuff. You guys are awesome. Have a good one. See you guys tomorrow night. Take care.